This is Gareth Southgate, and this is the Three Lions podcast.
Hello, and welcome to the Three Lions podcast. My name is Russell Osborne, and this is an independent England football supporters podcast. How are you? You well? You join me once again outside Tesco, waiting for my National Express coach to take me to Stansted for a flight once again to Eindhoven, to then make my way to Cologne for England's final group match of Euro 2024. What is it? It's 3:25 in the morning, Tuesday morning. Slovenia are our opposition this evening, and come the end of the game, we'll know where we stand for the next round. Thank you very much for all the messages on the last episode. Very kind, very positive, despite that performance. Unfortunately, Frankfurt didn't serve up the same travel disruption as Gelsenkirchen did. Before I touch on some of the results that have happened since we last spoke, I want to just comment on the behaviour of England fans. You probably have seen very little on the behaviour of England fans. No stories of fighting, no stories of plastic chairs being thrown across squares, no stories of German police having to intervene on any issues, which is great, as we know all the smallest of incidents can get blown up by certain parts of the media, shall we say. Oh, look, there's a fox over there. That's how early it is. But it brings me on to the guys from Block 109. You may have heard those guys. They posted on Twitter the other day that before the Denmark game, they called into a children's hospital with some tablets for the kids to use during their learning and play as well, and the sort of thing that they can sort of use to make calls home during their stay in these hospitals. So they went to the local hospital and handed those over. Just wanted to give them a shout out, because this sort of thing needs to be made more visible by our own media. And Block 109, all their sort of donations that they provide for hospitals and kids like that, it comes through donations from England fans, which I'm proud to say I contribute to. So I just wanted to mention them. Go check them out online. Just search England Block 109. And they've organised some fan events in Germany too. So England fans doing ourselves proud. Just still see that fox in the distance there, scrabbling around. Those games since I last spoke to you. Of course, we're now into a period of time where the groups are concluding. There are games being played at the same time. But I think Poland were the first team to exit the tournament after they lost both their games to the Netherlands and Austria. Now, there was Netherlands and France. They ground out a 0-0. And we've all been talking about how badly we've been playing. But also France. Well, they've certainly not set the tournament alight as many predicted. Belgium got back on track. They beat Romania after losing to Slovakia in their opener. Lukaku having a goal chalked off. That's 3 chalked off for him now. If they'd have all counted, he'd have been top scorer. But at the moment, he's got nothing to show for it. And then we get on to Scotland. Like Poland, they became the second side to call it a day at the Euros, conceding a last-minute goal against Hungary. I mean, frankly, they've not been good enough, have they? Had they not have taken such a hammer into Germany in the opening game, things might have been, they might have been a little bit different, mightn't they? And whilst they were unfortunate not getting a penalty, I always kind of think if people kick off about that, there's no certainty that they would have scored it. So by all accounts, that is now 12 international tournaments for Scotland, and 12 times they have exited at the group stage. Now, something that came with this was the whole Argentina connection, which you might be curious about, the connection between Argentina and Scotland. They have this fascination with Maradona. Now, he scored his very first Argentina goal against Scotland in 1979, and by all accounts he had a very good game in a game that they won 3-1. Argentina, that is, of course. But by all accounts they all warmed to each other. Obviously 1986 and all that, the Scots enjoyed that, and he was pictured wearing a Scottish shirt at some point. So this Argentina loving continued with Scotland. Now, at the moment, the Copa America is currently taking place in the States, and there has been a referee swap as such. Now, Italy supplied an Italian team of officials for the Copa America, and in return, Argentina have provided the Euros with a team of Argentine officials. And by pure chance, those officials officiated Scotland against Hungary. So to refer back to that penalty that wasn't given, had a little ring of irony about it, didn't it? Well, it did to me. So last night, Italy and Croatia played out their game, the final game of their group. Pretty dull first half, but the second half, well, it had a couple of exciting minutes, didn't it? VAR gave Croatia a penalty for handball. Modric takes that, and it's saved by Donnarumma. Minute later, and Modric has the ball in the net. He's scored from a different pattern of play. But I have to say, there was something about Italy. Not sure what it was, but I just didn't think they were going to go quietly. So it came with the last-minute equaliser, which has pretty much knocked Croatia out and sealed our place in the knockouts without kicking a ball. This whole third-place thing is quite complicated, and I believe it's because of Slovenia's goal difference above Croatia. Although if we beat Slovenia by a significant amount, then maybe Croatia could be back in the frame. I think that's a possibility, but we'll see. Spain, they beat Albania 1-0, and so far are the only team with a 100% record. Only Portugal can match that, and they play in a couple of days' time. But just going back to Scotland, I don't want to be too hard on them, as frankly we haven't been good enough either. So let's just talk England for a moment. 1-0 against Serbia, 1-1 against Denmark. Both the same lineups, both the same performances. Score, sit back, let the opposition come at us. Denmark, well, they took advantage. But as it stands, we are top of the group with 4 points. Denmark and Slovenia second and third respectively with 2, and Serbia bottom with a point that they earned against Slovenia. As I say, the performances, they haven't been up to scratch, but we are in pole position in the group. Win or draw, ideal. But it leaves me thinking, what England team will turn up? The one from the previous 2 games, or one with some ambition? One with some fight in their belly, one that wants to show the fans that they want to take this tournament seriously. That said, I don't expect Slovenia to just roll over. A draw probably isn't enough for them, so they'll be gunning for the win. Of course they will. But I'd like to think that we'll turn a corner and come out all guns blazing, wanting to prove that point. I'm going to stick my neck on the line and say we're going to win 3-0. Maybe even 4-0. That's my prediction. So yeah, that's my prediction. Let's hear some from you.
Paul Dennis here, very excited for the game tomorrow. I think the Denmark game was a reality check for the players. It's not going to be an easy tournament, this. I think there might be a few changes as well. Certainly expecting a higher tempo, a bit more attacking football, a bit more energy. I'm confident England are going to win 2-0. Bring it on. Come on, England.
Lee and Jack from Hastings. Right, score prediction time. I think it's going to be an emphatic win. I'm thinking 4-0 to England. Harry Kane brace. And I'm not sure on the other two. Jack, what do you think?
I'm gonna say 3-0. I'm hoping it's gonna be just like the third game of the Qatar World Cup against Wales. Hopefully.
Sounds good. Cheers. Thanks. Bye.
Hi Russell, it's Ian Ratcliffe here. So I'm really looking forward to getting back out to Germany, to Cologne. I am expecting a comfortable win for England. Let's face it, Slovenia, on paper, are the weakest team in the group. It kind of reminds me of the situation we had at the World Cup, facing another terrible team, Wales, I think it was. And we beat them 3-0. I'm expecting the same here. I expect there will be changes in the team, and that will have a positive effect. Top the group and back to Gelsenkirchen on Sunday.
Hi, Russell. Gary here from Channel England Football. Prediction-wise, I think I'm going to go for a 1-0 England. You can't expect more at the minute. We'd take a clean sheet and we'd take a win at the minute. Just seems like morale is really, really low. Ideally, though, I think the performance is worth more than the result now. I think it'd take a freak set of results for England not to qualify. So you just want to see some fight and some energy and, you know, some passion from the players. It just looks like they're playing with 50% at the minute. But yeah, for me, the performance is what matters now on Tuesday night. But always back them. I think within the first 20 minutes, we'll know how well England Euros are going to go. Because if they can't pick it up for this game, given the feedback they've had from the Danish game, then I think we're going to be in trouble. But come on, Three Lions, 1-0 win.
Cheers, guys. Now, Luke Shaw is apparently back in full training. Can't get excited about that, though. He's not played since February. Surely he's not going to take part anytime soon, is he? But by all accounts, Conor Gallagher will replace Trent Alexander-Arnold in the starting lineup. Just don't let us down, boys.
And welcome to Cologne on a bright, beautiful, Tuesday afternoon. A city dominated by a few things. The Rhine River that goes straight through it, which I'm standing aside at the moment, boats going up and down it. I'm just underneath a massive iron bridge with like 3 arches across it. It's also dominated by the cathedral, which I'm no doubt you've seen pictures of, like the jewel-spired cathedral, which is in the centre, which looks amazing. Possibly could do a bit of a clean, but that's one for something else. And today, dominated by England fans and Slovenian fans. There are a fair few Slovenian fans here. I've managed to track myself down a Three Lions for today. Managed to also get a copy of the Denmark one from the other day, which I didn't manage at the time. So happy days there. Yeah, beautiful city from what I've seen so far. And yeah, I'm gonna go and explore. I tell you what, just looking at this Rhine River, there's a boat just coming across it. The flow of this river is immense. It's such a strong current. This boat is almost going sideways. I imagine actually it's probably a boat that just goes side to side. But yes, not a river I think I could swim across. But it is such a beautiful day. Loads of England fans all around. Loads of England flags all decked along the river. Seen so many. All the bars where I've just walked past are full of England fans. Certainly going to be a big presence in the stadium later on tonight. I assume there's a fan zone around here somewhere. To be honest, I'm not quite sure where it is, but not going to that. So I'm not. It's not high on my agenda. Pleased to be joined by a good friend of the podcast, John Bleasdale from the Scottish Football Forums podcast, which is always a bit of a mouthful. John, you all right there?
Yeah, I'm good, Russell. It's good to see you again.
Likewise. I mean, you've been out here for quite a while. I mean, for those, I've already given the game away. You're obviously a Scotland supporter. You've been out here for a long time. How's it been? John, tell us your experiences.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. So I flew to Cologne from Glasgow via London Stansted on the 13th. Got the train down to Munich the next morning to go to the opening game. and then came back to Cologne the 15th and been pretty much in Cologne ever since, bar that obviously day trip to Stuttgart for the third game. So Cologne's a fantastic city, and I think your boys are loving the atmosphere as well just now. It's a great city.
Yeah, we're sitting having a chat just in amongst all the England fans by the river. It's a lovely setting, loads of people going around. There's people playing musical instruments just as to one side. There's big puppets being paraded around as well. The game is it's about 4 or 5 hours away. We'll talk football. Scotland, what went wrong?
It probably went wrong from the first minute of the opening game because Florian Wirtz went in with a great chance and Angus Gunn makes the save. It was pulled back for offsides, but the warning signs were there. The right side of our defence was an issue with no Hickey through injury, with no Patterson through injury. And then you're filling it up with a Celtic backup player and defenders from the Championship of Saudi football. You're up against them, you're up against quality like Wirtz and quality like Musiala and Havertz, etc. And we just didn't turn up. It just was a very poor performance. We never pressured Germany at all. Second game against Switzerland was a bit better. There was more intensity about our play. We didn't create enough to merit a victory. I think a draw was a fair result. Probably suited both teams in some ways because we still had a chance. But Sunday against Hungary, we just didn't use the ball properly at all. It tells you everything that the most passes in our team came from our three centre-halves. Because we were passing about the ball through the base, and we reacted too late, made changes too late, and get done in the last minute. It just wasn't good enough.
Yeah, it was heartbreaking, really, from a neutral's point of view. I guess watching it, I must admit, I did. There was a wry smile. I'll be honest, but there must have been a highlight of your trip out here.
Probably the opening goal against Switzerland, taking the lead in that game. Was outstanding. You know, the bouncing the Ryan Energy Stadium, and you'll probably feel it tonight. It is a tremendous atmosphere. It's a raucous atmosphere. One of the best atmospheres I've been in a football ground, in all honesty. It's got an old-fashioned feel to the stadium in Cologne. So that was probably the highlight. But just overall, mixing with locals, mixing with like the Belgians, the Romanians, even you guys have been pretty decent. So no, it's been the whole experience been wonderful. I mean, we don't get these very often, as we've discussed. It's the first proper tournament we've been in since '98. I know there was Euro 2020, but it didn't have the same feel because of COVID, because it was 2 games at Hampden. This has been proper, and the fact that we've had so many fans here just says it all.
Feel you've made the most of it.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, I've had some stick saying, I've had some stick from you boys saying, you should be going home now, airport's that way and stuff like that. But I'd already booked my flights before the draw was made, so I knew there was always going to be a couple of days afterwards. I took in Spain, Albania, which is good. I'm going to Slovakia, Romania, so I've got enough to keep me going before I go home. And it's nice going to a game where you don't have a horse in the race. So, looking forward to those games, but I'm looking forward to going home to my family as well, Russ. I'm not going to lie, I miss my kids.
Totally understandable. And I'm sitting there talking to John opposite him, in amongst all the England fans, and he is wearing a Scotland shirt. So loud and proud to John. Don't forget you can find John and the guys on the Scottish Football Forums podcast. And no doubt we'll speak again.
Yeah, thank you very much, Russell. All the best.
So the last time I came to Cologne was about 7, 8 years ago. Came for a Christmas market. It's safe to say the vibe is very different this time around. But I've made my way now towards the ground. I got the train from the central station, get off at a stop, and it appears to be a 25-minute walk towards the ground. And all those stories of like 2006 being so hot, I think now we are finally repeating it, because this now is really hot, really warm here in Cologne. I'll tell you what, I reckon I made a bit of an error getting the train. Possibly should have got the tram, because getting the train was about a 25-minute walk to the stadium from the nearest platform. But hey, we're here now, and yeah, I mean the weather is glorious. It's so warm, it's lovely. In front of me now is the stadium. It's a
I've walked up to this ground before. Why I didn't get the tram like I did that time before, I've no idea. But it's got a pathway that leads towards the stadium, and either side are these two massive, like, green fields. I mean, you could fit maybe 2 football pitches, maybe 3 on each side of them. And this is just in the walk up towards the ground. And the ground, like all the others, has got all the branding. But it's a 41,000 capacity stadium for the Euros. They've reduced it from, I think it's about 50 that I read. And it's got like 4 pillars at each corner with like sort of cabling sort of arching down towards the top of the stands. In a way, it doesn't look like Sampdoria's ground, but it does in a way. Right, I'm going to go for a walk round it, see what's what, see where my stand is.
Please use your right-hand side for ticketing.
Oh, there we go, right-hand side. So I've got loads of time before I have to go into the ground, so I'm just going to take a little wander around the side of it. Think back to Gelsenkirchen, where the outside was all sort of like a glass exterior, and then Frankfurt was very concrete. This is sort of very similar in that respect. It's very concrete, sort of pillars. You can see through into the ground. You can, in parts, you can see through into where the pitch is. But yeah, you can see the underside of the seating as you walk around it. There you go, just here, I can see right through to the stands and the pitch. There's already England flags being hung inside there. It's like the sun's beaming down inside. Today's going to be a hot and sweaty one tonight, I think. Yeah, it's just like crisscross of white concrete on the outside, just like a framework that's waiting to be filled in. In we are. I think I said earlier that this is around a 41,000 capacity stadium. It's home to FC Cologne of the Bundesliga. Now, England, the only time we have played here before, played in Cologne, you have to go back to 2006 and the 2-2 World Cup draw with Sweden. A game that you might remember for Michael Owen's injury. I think he picked up an injury along the side of the pitch. Foot injury, I think. And of course, Joe Cole's wonder goal, which was scored at the end where the main prominence of England fans are going to be. It's where I'm standing at this very moment. I myself am tucked into one corner, right on the end of the row, but it's a good view, right on the corner flag. It's the end where you'll see on the telly there is a large gap in the seats. That's the end England fans are situated. That's an entrance exit area within the stand. But taking a look around, as I mentioned, it is home to FC Cologne. Their name is in white up within the stands opposite me, all along the side. It's like a squared off stadium. It's not a bowl. It's got it's 4 sides, but in each corner, just ever so slightly, sort of seats in the corners, if that makes sense. And those 4 pillars that I mentioned that you can see from the outside, you can see those from the inside. In 2 corners of the ground, there are the large screens. They're currently showing the Netherlands-Austria game, of which currently Austria are 1-up. But with England already through, that was sorted out last night. So it'll be interesting to see what the atmosphere is going to be like tonight. Effectively, it's not a dead rubber of a game, but first place, second place is riding on it. Let's see what Gareth and the boys can put out tonight. And as we always do, let's take a look around at some of the flags. Nottingham Forest, Sleaford, Macclesfield. Got Tom and Mick on tour from Woodford and Kettering. There's a couple of Pompey flags up there. Pompey boys on tour. Basildon Blues, Ipswich. Derby, Sheffield United. Well, I never. There is a West Ham United one with Ware in the bottom corner. I feel right at home now. I'll take a picture of that one. Watford, Walsall, Reading, Doncaster, Connor Callum, Skip and Ockey, Hornchurch, another Portsmouth, another Hull, Burnley. Burnley flag with a Stone Island symbol stitched into it. Love it. So, with just under an hour to go before England kick off here in Cologne, the results of Group D have just come through. Austria have beaten the Netherlands 3-2. And then France drew with Poland, which means Austria top the group. If you had £1 on Austria topping the group, then fair play to you. France finished second, and the Netherlands, well, they finished third. As the England goalkeepers come out now. Also, the team has just come through. The team has been announced. One change, as predicted, Trent Alexander-Arnold is replaced by Conor Gallagher. But it's a team: Jordan Pickford, Carl Walker, Declan Rice, John Stones, Mark Gay, Bukayo Saka, Harry Kane, Jude Bellingham, Phil Foden, Kieran Trippier and Conor Gallagher. Let's hope that this is a team that's got a bit between their teeth tonight and going to put in a real performance.
Let's start the countdown. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6.
Second half about to start. I don't really know what to say about the first half. Nothing really spectacular. A lot of crossfield balls that ended up in nothing. One chalked off for offside. Kane missed one just at the post. Slovenia, to be fair, had a couple of opportunities, but I'm sitting at the opposite end. Couldn't really see how close their chances were. For the second half's about to start, and he's withdrawn Conor Gallagher and brought on Kobe Mainu. This could be an interesting change. Let's see Kobe Mainu run at them. Come on, England, let's get this done in the second half. No messing around. The great escape being run out behind the goal by all the England fans. Very reminiscent of St Etienne 2016. Four minutes injury time. People are already leaving. 0-0. I'm looking over the side now. Gareth Southgate just standing there. Looks forlorn. Looks lost. Looks like he knows it's up. Whenever that'll be. It's not good enough. We're not good enough. What do? Go on. Who's this? Oh. The boos at full time are just going to be immense. Doesn't matter that we've got through the group. The boos will be loud. And to be fair, rightly so.
The other game, Denmark and Serbia, is currently 0-0 as well. That is full time. Slovenia are literally running all over each other. Perhaps Gary Lineker was right.
I find this hilarious influence of Melbourne.
John Stone's clapping the fans. Fans are just abusing him back. Gareth Southgate went to applaud the fans, and 2 plastic cups were aimed at him, landed at his feet.
It's the morning after the night before, and I am back in Eindhoven, waiting my flight back home. Properly drummed after last night. I'm feeling it now. Those 3 trips in and out is beginning to get to me a little bit. Seems I was a bit optimistic about that 3-0 win, wasn't I? Well, once again, we just lacked that spark, that imagination. Anything that did come sort of came towards the end of the game. But even then, it wasn't anything, well, nothing special. Taking Gallagher off at half-time, replacing him with Mainu, I guess was a positive. But at the same time, it's just sort of, we just haven't come up with an idea for that position, have we? We're not in a position to do anything about it. Sort of the ideas aren't there. Palmer finally got his start, and I guess that's when it sort of really began to look like if we were going to move forward from second gear into third gear, that was when it happened. But again, nothing more. Why did Anthony Gordon only come on with pretty much injury time left to play? Just seemed devoid of ideas, as been the way throughout this tournament. I understand the abuse and the boos that the team got after the game. That's totally understandable. I mean, that's 3 games in a row now where the performances haven't been up to scratch. And I've read a little bit of Gareth's post-match comments, whereas in the press conference, I have to say, this tournament, he seems to be a different man. He seems to have a different persona about him, with his comments. In the past, he's kind of been calm, sensible, sort of well thought through. And now we're sort of hearing him things that he said about, like, when in the absence of Calvin Phillips, using Trent Alexander-Arnold was an experiment. Seemed a strange thing to say. And now, after the game yesterday, he said that the fans are creating an unusual environment for the team with the booing, and causing an issue for the group. I find that a very strange thing to say. Sort of, is he placing the blame on us for the performances? I'm sure that's not how he's trying to say it, but in a way it kind of comes across like that. I mean, last night would have been behind them from the start. Foden's had his own song from the start, which, to be honest, he hasn't lived up to, has he? The great escape last night constantly throughout the second half. I'm wondering though if Gareth is feeling the pressure in a way that we've not seen him sort of show before. Harry Kane said that last night was the best of the 3 England performances out here, which, well, in all honesty, didn't take much, did it? But let's see if you agree.
Hello, it's Jack and Lee from Hastings. For the thoughts on the game, I thought it really was the best. I think, again, it's a game where Slovenia needed a draw. We needed a win, so they were sitting back, and but 2 teams that aren't really fighting for the same thing. We're not both openly trying to win the game, but it's still expect us to do a lot better than that. I think we're going to find out a lot about ourselves on Sunday, in a knockout game. See, does Gareth make changes? How do we perform?
I'm sort of remaining positive. I think we could have done better, should have done better, but we are top of the group in the correct side of the draw, or correct side of the round, so to speak. So yeah, roll on Sunday. Looking forward to it. Thanks very much.
Hi Russell, Gary here from Channel England Football on YouTube. I think it was pretty much the performance I expected. 5-10% increase in performance levels. We kept the ball much better and higher up the pitch, and we didn't let Slovenia back in at all, but it's just not good enough from a creative perspective. I'm seeing a lot of people say this person needs to come in now or this person, and I just don't think it matters at the minute. The form's not there. That's 2 wins from 8 games for England now coming into this tournament and over the tournament. So our form's just not there, and we need to admit that. And it might click and it might not. I think it's looking likely it's going to be the Netherlands, isn't it, who we get in the next round of 16, but they're not playing very well. All teams aren't playing very well other than Spain, really. So, look, there's worse teams that have gone on to win this tournament. Look at Portugal a few years back. So, still in with a shout. You just feel like this England team is hitting a brick wall and there's not an obvious solution. Come on, England. Let's have you in the next round, but need to improve again.
Hi, Russell. Sam here. Just currently sat at Berlin HBF waiting to get the train back to the airport to go home for a couple of days before coming back for the last 16. Quite glad to be going home, really, get a couple of days refresh after what has been, some quite disappointing England performances. But, at the end of the day, we're through. We've got to try and take the positives as much as there's been lots of negatives. And, now it's knockout football. So it's down to, those players to come out and show what they're really about now, because at the end of the day, if they don't perform from now on, and especially if we play the Dutch, then we'll be going home. So let's just hope that things slowly start to get better now.
Thanks as always, guys. We finished by topping our group with 5 points. Denmark finished second and Slovenia third. But like their qualifying, they could barely be separated. So it came down to yellow cards. And one of the Slovenians' backroom staff received a yellow card in an earlier game. And that was what edged them into third place. Serbia, well, they finished bottom on 2 points and were ultimately knocked out. And speaking of which, it is now knockout football. As you heard there, a few of you were anticipating playing the Dutch. I think we all were, really, as the evening went on, or as we all looked at the table. It wasn't to be. As on the final group day, Georgia beat Portugal in Group F, a result that I reckon that will go down in their history as one of their most famous days. But Slovakia, drawing 1 apiece with Romania in Group E, which meant that they finished in third place in the 4th place ranking table. And that reflected who would be our opponents. Netherlands, Georgia and Slovenia, along with Slovakia, made it through as the third placed teams. Hungary and Croatia, the 2 that fell aside. It now means the round of 16 is complete. Let's just run through it. Top half of the journey to Berlin sees Spain take on Georgia. Could that be a potential banana skin? Germany faced Denmark in a rerun of that 1992 final. Portugal, Slovenia, and because France finished second in their group, they play their near neighbours Belgium. All those top teams in that half of the draw is quite a sight. Some potentially great games there. And then on to our half. Romania against the Netherlands. Austria, perhaps the surprise team, take on Turkey. Switzerland against Italy, another neighbourly derby there. And we now know Slovakia will be our opposition in Gelsenkirchen. The winners facing either Italy or Switzerland in Dusseldorf. And any semi-final in Dortmund. I'm not going to get ahead of myself here, as I was there that night in Nice for Iceland. So it's one game at a time for me. But back to Slovakia, a team we've met 6 times since they broke away from Czechoslovakia in January 1993. Now, we have a history of played 6, won 5, and drawn 1. That drawn game came in the goalless game in St Etienne that I referred to earlier, where the Great Escape was sung constantly throughout. Now, our last meeting with Slovakia was in 2017, a home World Cup qualifier where we won 2-1. The away leg of that, this was in the build-up to the Russia World Cup, the away leg was a year before where we won by 1-0 under the guidance of a certain Mr. Allardyce. Yeah, remember that one? So we know how we got to this point. But how did Slovakia? They were in Group E. They finished 3rd on 4 points. What's impressive about this group was the fact that all the teams finished with 4 points. A classic 1-1, drawn 1, lost 1. Romania top, Belgium 2nd, and Ukraine 4th. The Slovaks, well, they beat Belgium 1-0 to start with, lost to Ukraine, then drew with Romania. Now, I really wanted to try and have a chat with a Slovak who knows his or her stuff, but just trying to arrange something in such a short time frame just didn't really work out for me. It was a case of, do I release this now or wait a little longer with potentially no success in getting anyone? So I've opted to release this now. I hope that's okay. Hope you've enjoyed it and continue to do so. Thank you, as always, for all the contributions to the episode. It's always great to hear from you, and indeed the messages that you send either on Twitter, Facebook, or on the email. It's always great. I'll always try and reply as and when I can. So I will be heading out once again to Germany. Different route this time. No more loitering outside of Tesco at unearthly hours. So I hope that you can join me for it. So until then, take care of yourselves. Cheers.